Well, hey everyone, how you doing? We are again approaching the end of the year, 2023, and we are still reading through the book of Revelation. Today, I want us to just stop and think about just a couple thoughts from Revelation chapter 14. You know, it's refreshing to know that we are not in seasons where there's just nothing to do, where there seems like there's no rhyme or reason or purpose. There's always something to do. If we are here, we have a purpose for our lives. That's why it's so important, excuse me, that we get connected to God, to saving faith in Jesus Christ, to the Word of God, and to live in the fullness of God's plans and purpose for our lives. So I want you to think about that as we look today. Welcome back. Welcome back. So here we are. Let's talk about this. In chapter 14, I want to read to you. Let's see, verse 12. It says, "This calls for patient endurance on the part of the people of God who keep his commands and remain faithful to Jesus." It says, "Then I heard a voice in heaven say, 'Write this, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on.' Yes," says the Spirit, "they will rest from their labor, for their deeds will follow them." It goes on, it says in verse 15, it says another angel came out of the temple and called in a loud voice to those who were sitting on the cloud, "Take your sickle and reap, because the time to reap has come, for the harvest of the earth is ripe." Now, amid all the choruses of judgment in these chapters, and it's only going to ramp up in the next few chapters, 16 and 17. There's a lot of judgment, but God calls to his people during this time with words of affirmation, talking about remain faithful, do the faithful work, have the faithful, patient endurance to continue on in the work and the plans and the purposes that God gives us. So judgment is all around. The ungodly, the Roman world in this first century that is being written to, and the believers there's affirmation for God's people. They're reminded that they are blessed even though they die. Why? Because even though when we die, we will truly live in all the fullness of eternity and what God has for us. And we're reminded as we read on into that, where it talks about take the sickle, reap the harvest. There's always work to be done, ongoing work in God's harvest fields. God reaps a wonderful, wonderful harvest from our faithful work, even in the midst of chaos and what seems like judgment. That was the word for them. I truly believe that's the word for us, because it is chaotic. The world seems a little just wonky right now, doesn't it? But you know what? Just like back then, right now, if we remain faithful and continue the work, there's a harvest field. God just doesn't want you and me to be blessed. He wants everyone to be blessed. And we are a part of that solution. That's the purpose we have. And so may God bless us in these times. May God bless us this Christmas season. We have the opportunity to slow ourselves enough to say, this isn't about me. This isn't about buying a Christmas present right now, as much as it is, how do I honor God today? And I pray for myself and for you as we wrap up this year that we will finish well, with every breath, with every bit of strength, ounce of strength that God gives us to finish well. I want to worship with you. We're coming up on Christmas Eve here, and I want to gather together. If the Lord gives us a few more days, gather together. I want to invite you to invite someone else and come and let's worship 11 o'clock, 11 a.m. on Christmas Eve and 5:30 p.m. on Christmas Eve. Let's finish up our work because our work isn't done. We're still here. God bless you. Back to Revelation for a second. See, we don't need to read this like like we're raptured away from the world and all that's going on and all the chaos. No, we're in it and a part of it as long as God gives us breath. He's given that to you and me right now. Let's use it for His glory. God bless you. I'll see you soon.